although India claims that it's its Independence Day, but people of Jammu and Kashmir who have been denied independence and they're under occupation since last 77 years.
Kashmiris have been observing this day as Black Day since the Indian illegal occupation of Kashmir. It's because that although India got its independence, we welcome the Indian independence, but at the same time, India illegally occupied our land.
What are the sentiments of the people of Jammu and Kashmir when 14th August is observed, and of course on 15th of August their sentiments would be similar, aligning with Pakistan and anti-India?
People of Kashmir have always shown their love and respect for Pakistan. There should be no doubt for that. Different think tanks at the international stage have now questioning the Indian human rights record. Along with that, they are asking for a meaningful dialogue on Kashmir. They want, as far as now the President Trump. As Modi's downfall in India has started, so for him it's very difficult in a way to accept it all because then it will be settled in India that Modi is really a surrender Modi.
What should be the alternate strategy so that there should be tremendous pressure on India?
On one hand, we could see there is a process of accountability of India on the part of international community, and it started very much from the March 2025 by the High Commissioner's statement. It started from there. A very near future, there will be something concrete on Kashmir. There will be more and more pressure on India to talk on Kashmir, and I think that will start very soon.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, it's 15th of August and 15th of August is Independence Day of India. Our focus will be Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where the great and brave people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir are being forced by Indian authorities to observe Indian Independence Day at a moment when people of Jammu and Kashmir have been denied independence and they have been forced to observe Indian Independence Day, which is unacceptable for people of Jammu and Kashmir. However, since it's the orders by the state, people are being forced, they are being watched, there is surveillance on them, there is tough security arrangements. Local governments have been strictly ordered to ensure that people participate in Indian Independence Day rally. Why it is happening at a time again when people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir are denied their basic rights. They have been denied the right to referendum, their will, whether they would like to live with India or with Pakistan. That referendum was right of the referendum, which is called plebiscite, was granted to the people of Jammu and Kashmir under United Nations Security Council resolutions. And when we talk of these resolutions, India is continuously committing violations of UN Charter, UN Human Rights Council resolution, UN Security Council resolution, and all international documents, agreements which ensure freedom, rights, and these all things. Because of these all violations, 15th of August 2025, like every year, is observed in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and world over as Black Day. To discuss this, the significance of this, why people of Jammu and Kashmir observe Black Day against India, we are fortunate to have with us very senior, committed, devoted, die-hard activist of Kashmir, Mr. Altaf and Wani. He's currently the chairman of National Front of Jammu and Kashmir. Additionally, he also heads a very renowned think tank, Kashmir Institute of International Affairs. Very warm welcome to our program. So I would like to begin with this, that although India claims that it's its Independence Day, but people of Jammu and Kashmir who have been denied independence and they're under occupation since last 77 years, they are being forced, they are being intimidated to observe the Indian Independence Day at a time when they are under subjugation. What is this contradiction really in Indian actions, Indian claims, and Indian statements?
You see, basically, Kashmiris have been observing this day as Black Day since the Indian illegal occupation of Kashmir. It's because that although India got its independence, we welcome the Indian independence, but at the same time, India illegally occupied our land. So we think that India should, first of all, honor those UN Security Council resolutions, because India has itself gone to the United Nations and accepted those resolutions passed by the United Nations Security Council, that they will held, there will be a plebiscite in Kashmir, and people of Kashmir will decide themselves their political future. But since now 78 years on, India has failed to honor those resolutions. At the top of that, India has been conducting brutal human rights operations, violation operations in Indian occupied Kashmir. At the top of that, from August 5th, 2019 onwards, India also initiated a war of terrorism, constitutional terrorism in Kashmir, in order to
which
change,
is called state terrorism,
in order to change the demography of Kashmir, to take away the identity of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. That's why people of Kashmir observe this day as a Black Day. Why India is forcing the people to have the Indian flags, a tricolor on each and every house, and each and every individual should have a tricolor. This forces submission. Why this forces submission? Because most recently we have not seen in past that there was a forced submission from the state for the people of Kashmir to observe this day in that way. They would conduct, there was always a siege and search operation in Kashmir. People, each and every nook and corner was guarded. There was surveillance in Kashmir, and the government of India and its province will hold a ceremony in some stadium or some place inside, and that was it. But since we have seen that most recently, after the Pakistan-India standoff, which took place from 7th and 10th May, after that we could see that Modi, which was seen an indivisible person in India, he was seen that nobody could match the Modi in future, and internationally Modi would celebrate that he's everybody welcomed and all that.
He was so arrogant.
Exactly. But after that we could see that his popularity not only nationally but also internationally has gone down. India has been almost isolated internationally because of these actions of the Narendra Singh Modi and his government at home and abroad. Because we have seen at home, they on Kashmir, they have their own policy, the way their military is operating in Kashmir with complete impunity in Kashmir, and the way they have been conducting the minorities in India, the way they have suppressed them in these years. The Modi has taken over the charge in India, because there was always minorities were at the receiving end, but in Narendra Modi's era, it is state condoned all these operations against minorities. So that has caused him national as well as international isolation to Modi and his government. Now the government of India, the BJP wants to, on one hand, to initiate such coercive measures in Kashmir. One is to force the people of Kashmir to celebrate this Independence Day and to hold the Indian flags in their hands, to show the international audience and again that false narrative which they have been portraying before, that you see the people of Kashmir are very much happy with India and they are celebrating the Indian Independence Day, they are taking the Indian flags in their hands. This is one thing. On the other hand, they want to satisfy their local population also. You see the way we have operated in Kashmir, it has paid us. It has paid us. Now we have fully integrated Indian occupied Kashmir into the Union of India. This is one thing. On the top of that, the Indian government wants also to tell the just opposition parties who have made the life of Modi hell currently in India, because he left the parliament without making a speech in the parliament, because now there are mummies, there is lots of social media acts and also on the media that he is called the surrender Modi. So in order to say that I am not a surrender, I am victorious, they also ordered, on one hand, the Indian army chief gave such a statement that although they had won May 10th war against Pakistan, and the other hand, after 3 months, Indian air chief came with a statement that ridiculous statement that we have down the 12 of the Indian Pakistani jets. So on and so forth. This all is happening in order to rather give a boost to the Modi's, which is the declining popularity in India. They want to boost that Modi is again at that time, so that BJP could win the elections in different states which are going to be held. But on the other hand, you see the way Election Commission of India has become, after a long time here, that has become very much suspicious that they have been manipulating the elections for BJP and others.
So you've nicely elaborated these all things. I will put up certain other political questions, including call for agitation by Rahul Gandhi. But before we that, since you are closely observing the occupied valley, what are the sentiments of the people of Jammu and Kashmir when 14th August is observed? And of course, on 15th of August, their sentiments would be similar, aligning with Pakistan and anti-India.
You see, one thing which is clear, that people of Kashmir have always shown their love and respect for Pakistan. There should be no doubt for that, neither in Pakistani's mind nor in Indian minds, that what the people of Kashmir want. Because, despite all these restrictions, despite all this surveillance, despite all this crackdowns, draconian laws, everything, you have seen that Kashmiris would bury their loved ones in Pakistani flags. That is the respect they show. On 14th of August, they will host the Pakistani flags on their homes, on their markets, and everywhere. But since 2019, August 5th, the government of India, what they did, on one hand, wherever they martyred any of the freedom fighter anywhere, or even a innocent person, anybody who was martyred by a stray bullet or any cross-firing, those dead body was not given to the families, because the Indian government always feared that there will be a huge funeral of that, and the people will chant slogans for Pakistan and for independence. And
so where these dead bodies have gone then?
They have been buried far away. If a person is martyred in south, his dead body is buried in the north of Kashmir. In north, that is buried in the south of Kashmir, and increasing the cost of their families, also
far away from their native
homes. That's one. In far-flung areas, not in populated areas. They are buried in far-flung areas. That's one thing. The other thing is that since 2019 onwards, when the people of Kashmir, they always paid respect to the Pakistani flag and Pakistan, they hosted the Pakistani flags and their houses. But what we see, those houses were demolished. One way or the other way, those houses were demolished. And those people were caged. They are facing the sedition charges. They have been implicated under UAPA in different Indian jails. And you know also on this 22nd of April, the way the India accused of the incident to Pakistan, but the operation was conducted in the whole of Kashmir. More than 4,000 people, young and budding people, were arrested in that day, and many of them are still languishing in different jails. And we could see also at that time scores of houses were demolished by the Indians. So India, in a way, now they try that the Kashmiris should not celebrate the Pakistan Independence Day. But even then, the Kashmiris we could see at large places in Kashmir, the posters were for Pakistan Zindabad, we love Pakistan, happy Independence Day Pakistan, and for Pakistan's army chief, prime minister, others, photos were displayed throughout the length and breadth of Kashmir Valley.
Talking internationally, we have seen you regularly representing Pakistan and people of Jammu and Kashmir in United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva. We have seen you organizing sideline seminars, rallies, conferences, and you used to deliver statements inside in the Commission. So, how far these UN Human Rights Commission meetings, resolutions, debates, there have been reports. Is this all activity has any impact or pressure on India to ease things in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and ease the human rights violation?
Unfortunately, I would say not, because India is in the Narendra Singh Modi government is an arrogant government, and that's why I think now the international community has started accountability of India. I could see now, because passing these resolutions, these seminars or statements which we have, or the Human Rights Commissioner reports and all that, India always reacted very harshly to those reports. For the reports, they said these have been written in comfort zones, and these are militias and felishes and written with some, and so on and so forth. At that time, we were also very much annoyed with the international community, with the states also, because they could not side with the statement of the Human Rights Commissioner, the reports of the Human Rights Commissioner. But slowly and steadily, as the days passed, when we were talking to the diplomats, we were talking to the different people or Human Rights Commissioner's office people there, they would say, we are in contact with India, we are trying to do this, we are trying to do that.
Trying to convey the sentiments.
And all that. And we hope they will. But India did not. And that's why we could see now, the Human Rights Commissioner speaking of the rights violation in Kashmir. And only to yesterday, you could see the US State Department's report on Kashmir, on India, Manipur, Kashmir, and India's terrorism, which is beyond the borders of India, what they are doing.
It is called transnational terrorism.
Yeah, transnational terrorism.
It is exporting terrorism to the other countries.
Different countries. That has come to the limelight in these reports. And also, we could see that different think tanks at the international stage have now questioning the Indian human rights record. Along with that, they are asking for a meaningful dialogue on Kashmir. They want, as far as now the President Trump, in a way, it's now, I think, last time when I heard him, that was the 34th time when he asked about that.
It's one of the biggest records. 34th time.
He has been asked that
I managed the ceasefire.
I managed the ceasefire, and I'm also ready to negotiate on Kashmir to facilitate the dialogue.
This is what my next question is, that this is quite a very bold new policy from American president. And if you remember, in 2019, with the then Prime Minister, he first time raised that issue that he's ready to mediate between Pakistan and India. So since this is 34th time, American president has said that he ensured ceasefire, and he will also ensure that both Pakistan and India sit and talk. So as you mentioned earlier, even India is not listening to United States. So despite these all American president's statements and these all things, his tweets and his addresses and these all things, there is no impact on Modi.
You see, there is impact on Modi. We could see that impact doesn't look that Modi will just come and say, okay, I'm ready to do it. Since we have seen the Indian policy in the past also, India has always been negating at the face everything. India was the first to went to the United Nations
itself.
To Kashmir dispute, they went there, and that is why these resolutions were passed. Otherwise, our freedom fighters in 1947, they were marching ahead. They were at Srinagar. They could have captured the whole way
within few days.
Within few days, but it was India which went there at that time. And thereafter, when the ceasefire they secured, and after that they started denial, and the denial continues till date. Likewise, if we go back to the Kargil, when the Kargil was happening at that time, it was at that time India which approached the United States for that
for intervention. Otherwise, Pakistan's position was on the better side.
So at that time also they went there. Likewise, during this period of time when this ceasefire was observed on 10th of May afternoon, we could see that why should United States say that I am the person, United States President say I am the person who initiated this ceasefire, and he said India approached us first, and in a different conversations, Indian its ministers Jaishankar in a later conversation accepted that I was in the room when this United States. This foreign minister, what we call him,
Jaishankar.
United States Pompeo.
Yes, Marco Rubio.
Mark Rubio called the Prime Minister and told him about this. So these things have been accepted in one way or the other way by the Indian Prime Minister. That is why Rahul Gandhi in the Parliament said, he said to Modi, just answer my one question, that if President Trump is not correct in his statement that he is the one who has secured this ceasefire, you state in this parliament
on the floor of the House,
exactly. He is a liar. Just have the courage to say.
And he was silent.
He was silent, and he left the parliament. He said to have the courage to say that he is silent. So this means that there is something happening behind the scene. But as Modi's downfall in India has started, so for him it's very difficult in a way to accept it all, because then it will be settled in India that Modi is really a surrender Modi.
So on the literary side, so books, brochures, papers, these all things exposes Indian brutalities. Recently, I've seen your tweet in which you said 25 books have been banned. Arundhati Roy and A.G. Noorani and a number of other authors. Why it is so? Are these books are critical of India? Or these books are about Kashmir culture, policies, literature, and these things? What exactly are these 25 books?
See, these 25 books, two of the books, one is of Allama Maududi, the other is Hassan al-Banna's book for that. And they have nothing to do with the Kashmir Jihad. Both these books have nothing to do with Kashmir. They have to do with Islam. They have to do with Islam. So on one hand, they don't want that there should be such a literature on Islam in Kashmir or in India that people could know about the resistance in Islam and how it is. Because Allama Maududi itself has always condemned the way the radicalization or to have a subvert and all that. So that's one hand. On the other books which have been written, most of them have been written by the Indians and outsiders, like the book by Arundhati Roy that speaks that people of Kashmir should have the right to decide their future. In Azadi, she discusses the Kashmir, she discusses the human rights and all that. She's an Indian by all means, but she's a human rights activist. She's in
the writing, she never instigated the people.
She never instigated people. She has written the facts on the ground. Like the other one is from Athar Zia's book on the enforced disappearance in Kashmir and all that. And that also speaks of the stories of those half widows and all that, what is happening. And she puts a way forward for that, how these should. And like other books, A.G. Noorani's book is a constitutional work from 1947-2012. And he advocates the greater autonomy for the people of Kashmir. They should have this because that has been promised to them by the Indian leaders then. So there is nothing like that in book which says that the Kashmir is separatism or any of these things. But why Indian government is banning these? Now this mental state of Anuradha Bhasin that has also been, which was after the abrogation of Article 3735A, she wrote a dismantled state of Jammu and Kashmir. This is because basically India, what Indians want, they want that they should not know the history of Kashmir. The younger generation, the newer generation, or the audience in Kashmir, the readers in Kashmir should not read the history of Kashmir, the stories of the Indian suppression in Kashmir, the broken promises of the Indian leaders in Kashmir. The younger generation should now only know the rewritten history which is being written in Dehradun and in Delhi by different Indian think tanks
with their
Kashmir
angle.
with their angle to prove that Kashmir is a Hindu land, that the Hindu culture sustained there, and they want to take away everything which pertains to Muslims and which pertains to resistance or which pertains to human rights violation in Kashmir. So that is why these books have been banned. But they don't. They should. I think who has advised them this to ban these books and all that. Current day, though India has created a surveillance in everywhere, and these books are even in Kashmir. You can't read them on internet and other places also. You can't share them. Definitely, there is a problem in that. But there is always where there is will, there is way. As long as you ban these books, these will be more and more shared and read by the people. Because people want to know about what is happening in Kashmir.
Strategically, one very important aspect that is sometime highlighted, sometime it is not highlighted. I would like to seek your intellectual comment that Britain was partner in this tragedy. They gave access to India, right, by a biased demarcation.
No.
So, since last many years, we have seen there have been statements from British government, from within British Parliament. But now, over the last few years, Britain is quite silent. It's not taking any initiative on, particularly after 5th August 2019. Whatever are the tragedies which we are witnessing, despite all censorship and a crackdown on media and on social media, reports are coming out that people live under fear, under intimidation, under repression. So the question is, Britain, despite part of this tragedy, why it is not taking any initiative? It is also a member of the UN Security Council.
To tell say, Britons have never, I think, accepted that they are the
partner in this
tragedy. Problem. They are part of this tragedy.
They created actually.
They created, but they have never accepted it that they were the part of this tragedy. If they had accepted, they would have made the corrective measures. They think we had not. But at the same time, we could see from last so many years, there is a voice in the Britain Parliament. Fortunately, we have a large number of now MPs in there. But,
of Kashmiri origin.
Of Kashmiri origin, Pakistani origin, who have been discussing, who have been taking the House of Lords also this, but we have not seen a clear-cut policy, unfortunately, on the part of the Labour, which we expected that Labour will do. But having said that, we have settled the ex-Labour leader, Jammu Corbyn, who is a very vocal voice for the rights of people of Kashmir, for Dalits and others. That's why India managed that Jammu Corbyn should not be the leader of Labour. But the current Labour leader is facing criticism in Britain also for his policies towards Palestine and Kashmir. He is facing the criticism over there. And that's why on Palestine there has been lots of criticism and he has been forced to some way to reverse the policies now. But I think there is a time that I think the responsibility of our diaspora living in Britain, they have the huge responsibility of creating, I always say, they should get involved in the local communities in order to create awareness about it and make them aware that what Britain has done to the Kashmir and what is the responsibility of the British government.
Wani sahab, you have been traveling internationally, you have gone to many countries, and since you said that India is not listening to the UN, it is disrespecting the American president's statements, although Modi never spoken on the record that he's lying, as you said. But keeping in view your international exposure and traveling, what do you think international community should, other than UN, as India is not accepting any of the UN document resolution, what are the other options left for international community? Because it is a great human rights tragedy, whatever is happening in IIOJK. So because now 77 years, let me complete question, 77 years have gone. So for the days to come, what should be the alternate strategy so that there should be tremendous pressure on India?
See, on the one hand, we could see there is a process of accountability of India on the part of international community, and it started very much from the March 2025 by the High Commissioner's statement. It started from there. Then different UN
What that statement says precisely?
That precisely says about the human rights violations in India and
Alarming situation
in Kashmir at that time. And then also we could see slowly and steadily there have been many of the communications to the government of India by the UN special rapporteurs vis-a-vis Kashmir and also the minorities in India and Manipur. And now we could see that since we have seen now the report of the US State Department report on minorities and other things where it talks about Kashmir, Manipur and extraterritorial terrorism of India. So it says...
You are referring to the American State Department report.
Yeah.
Right. It also includes Kashmir?
Kashmir, Manipur and extraterritorial terrorism by the Indians.
So what's your analysis on this report?
My analysis is that it shows that there is a concern
by the
Americans, and that's why this report has come. And similarly, we have seen some reports from the European press, some reports from the American press, because once it was thought that talking about against India was a blasphemy in Europe, in European press. But now European press categorically openly exposes the Indians. And there I see that it's all that we should continue the way we conducted ourselves, the Pakistan conducted itself during this the latest crisis which was held. And we have seen the way our army chief, the field marshal, has been received everywhere from United States with high respect everywhere. And we have to conduct ourselves the same way. Our foreign office has to conduct ourselves the same way. All other institutions will have to conduct. And the larger is that we should have what the Prime Minister said yesterday in the Karavane, what was that?
Marka Haq exactly event.
That he urged all the political parties of Pakistan to have a genuine political stability. Let's have a dialogue on the development of Pakistan. I think that is the most desirable thing at the current what Pakistan needs. Pakistan is everywhere in the international arena at front. Pakistan's policy, Pakistan's argument has been listened. It has been respected by the international audience, but now we have to show a collective responsibility at home. And that will create an atmosphere. And at the top of this, I will see the current, the way this monsoon has trashed whole of this India, Pakistan, Northern Pakistan, Northern India, everywhere. So this should be also an eye-opener for the Indians. That unless and until we resolve Kashmir, we talk about Kashmir, we cannot have a joint mechanism for this climate change, for all these things. That is the only thing, because our rooftop is leaking. So we have to do something for it. And that is the only way to save our people, to save our planet, to save everything on this planet.
Lastly, since here we are close to the end of the program, I would like to, you said Pakistan's narrative was accepted every country internationally, and India tried to project its false narrative. Where this Indian false narrative stands at international level? Internationally, people do accept Indian false narrative on Kashmir, on terrorism.
If that have been accepted, then our narrative would have not been there. The way India projected Kashmir, the way India projected Pakistan in
freedom last movement 15 as a terrorism
years,
movement.
In last 15, 20 years. And I think not only the foreign thinkers or foreign opinion makers and ordinary men in the international arena, they were infected by this. Our own people got infected. Our own younger generation got infected by it, that we are a failure state and all that, because of the Indian sixth generation warfare and all that. But now, after the way the Indians did after 22nd of May. Now in this digital era, in the era of this, when everything is exposed to
Cyber
the
world, digital media,
everything is exposed to the
digital
world.
media.
So India was exposed. Indian lies were exposed. And then people started believing that what the EU Disinfo Lab said, that was true. Because then the way Pakistani media behaved, the way Pakistani Foreign Office behaved, the way Pakistani military spokesperson behaved, that those all statements were responsible statements, and there was never in any of the statements anything which could be termed as arrogant or anything else. That those were responsible statements. That is why the international opinion changed altogether. They thought that they have been misleading us so far. They are again coming to mislead us because the Indians had nothing to submit in their proofs what they claimed after the 22nd of May. So that is why I say our narrative has been accepted.
And Indian narrative has been
rejected. And categorically, it is not that they send the Shashi Tharoor-like person to and all
vibrant speaker.
Vibrant speaker. But he also came with the acceptance that the narrative has not been accepted in that
Last
way.
short question and short answer. The future of issue of Jammu and Kashmir.
To be honest, and if I see a future, a very near future, there will be something concrete on Kashmir. There will be more and more pressure on India to talk on Kashmir, and I think that will start very soon.
That will start very soon.
Very soon.
It will be a breakthrough?
Breakthrough.
Really?
Yeah.
That will change the entire story?
That will definitely lead to the change of the entire story.
Thank you so much, Mr. Altaf and Wani. Despite the fact that on this day you have been quite busy even in Islamabad, holding seminar, conferences and rallies and presenting a traditional memorandum to the UN observers in Islamabad. And we invited you in our program, and despite your very busy schedule, you spared time and participated in our program. Thank you so much for strategically highlighting this 15th August as a black day, why people of Jammu and Kashmir observe this day as a black day. Thank you so much once again. And dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.